This video is sponsored by Vernal. So last weekend I had this really interesting realization where a lot of the stuff that I do, all of my hobbies are extremely digital. And the YouTube channel is also completely digital, right? The entire building process is on the iPad and it goes to a 3D printer. I film everything with my cameras, and I was really curious, like if we would change up this process a little bit, go back to more analog tools, pencils, paper, that kind of stuff, how it would influence the design process. And so I'd like to create a little area in this space where we have a very analog way of jotting down ideas. Now, honestly, this brought back quite a lot of memories. I went to the HEMA here in the Netherlands, which is a store where you can buy a bunch of school supplies and all that good stuff. I haven't touched most of this stuff since I stopped studying. Yeah, going back to this it feels a little bit weird. Now the studio build is coming along really nicely, but I still don't have really nice setups in this space. And Vernal reached out a little while back and offered to send me a sit-stand desk. Having sit-stand legs is pretty nice because you can adjust the height and the relation of your chair, or maybe if you want to stand up and do some work in that way, you could do that. And the build quality is really solid. The assembly is super easy as well. Everything just bolts into place. I personally chose the bamboo top with the 180cm by 80cm top. I really like the bamboo top because it fits really nicely in this space as it is right now. Nice wood color, and it's not too dark. It still, brightens up the place a little bit. So Vernal offers this entire ecosystem of sorts with accessories that complement their setups themselves. In addition to this, I added some casters which I already had laying around. This makes it really nice to just roll it around in the space. And if you're building up the setup, it can be very useful as well because you can just roll it into whatever position you need to access the back or the cables. And the control interface on these is pretty nice as well. It somewhat wraps around the desktop itself, so it's a little bit more at the front than at the bottom of it. And somehow that feels a lot more safe, as if you're not going to bash it into stuff. In addition to this, I also added the keyboard tray to this setup. So this is a drawer that you screw into the bottom of the desktop itself, and it slides out, and the front component also rotates outwards, so you can put your hands on there and keep the keyboard and mouse nicely stored away. So Vernal's also given us a discount code, YTFL, for 6% off. Definitely check that out if you want to buy one of these. And I also added the monitor arms. I used these in the project panel video as well, where we mounted the project panel onto these, and I'm going to do the same on this setup. And I quite appreciate these monitor arms because the piston that's inside of these isn't too tight to the point where you can't adjust them anymore if something really light is stored on top of these. And the vase mounts on these monitor arms are also really awesome because you can clip them on and off. And this makes it very versatile. If you have a project panel you want to mount on this thing, you can quickly remove it and put it onto a different monitor arm. So I bought some of these sheets of metal from the hardware store, and they come in pre-cut sizes of 250mm by 500mm, which is exactly the right size for these Gridfinity grids. I'm essentially rebuilding the magnetic Gridfinity project panel that I built a little while ago. Now I didn't change much in regards to the design. I just reprinted all of the components that I modeled out last time, and I 3D printed these components on the Bambu Lab A1 in ABS this time around. In the first part of this process, I have these 3D printed guides. This allows me to mark out where we need to drill the holes to actually mount all of the stuff together. After drilling those holes on the drill press, I go past it with a larger size bit so that we actually get rid of all of the excess over there. After this, I started adding the corner pieces, but I realized I didn't make the holes yet for the vase mount, so I did 3D print this little inside plate for this, and I marked it out where the center was, went back to the drill press and drilled those holes in there as well. Now the bolts for this vase mount actually come from inside the plate itself, so we'll just be adding these to the 3D printed component here. It's a little bit of a tight fit because I didn't leave any excess room here, but as soon as the vase mount is in place, I added those side components and then the top layer. Just a quick note that if you like the video at any point, then definitely leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Really helps me out, really helps the channel out, and also check out the Patreon page if you would like access to the design files. So this design is already on there, you can just download that, use it for yourself, maybe adjust it if you'd like to build something else out of it. After this, I started modeling out some of the inserts I wanted to put in place for the pencils and the pens and all of the accessories and that kind of stuff. So it's really neatly organized and very appealing to look at as well. Basically, the pencil holders are sticking out at a 30-degree angle so that you can stack multiple behind each other and still access all of the pencils or pens that are in place. Of course, next to this, we also have some miscellaneous items that we just need a little bucket for. So I created a bunch of buckets. One of them has some slanted edges, so it can be placed at the bottom, and that means it utilizes the space where the corner pieces are held in place. So I sent those off to be 3D printed by the X1C and the Bambu Lab A1, and after that I glued in some magnets. I haven't really figured out a better way of doing this than adding glue, but if you don't, then the magnets will just stick to the plate once you remove them. So I added that bottom bucket at first, and I just put the miscellaneous items in here. I still want to put a ruler and a speed square in there so that we can actually properly draw stuff out for the designs we'll do in the future as well. After this, adding 2 of these pencil holders, and these are pretty much universal for every type of pencil, except for those thicker ones that you get for woodworking and that kind of stuff. So the top one has a bunch of black pens in there, and the bottom one has colored pencils in there. Now looking back at this, it seems kind of like a silly project to actually dedicate a desk to this very analog way of working, and you know, there's not a whole lot of content here, but for some reason I feel this is going to make a really big difference in my mindset when creating stuff, just to have a little bit more thought through designs in the future as well, and have a good sit down with the design before actually jumping straight over the line of like, it needs to be functional and I just need it to work, and then building that. Now Vernal also sent over this cabinet of sorts. So this is a black full metal bar storage cabinet, and I want to create some Gridfinity grids for this one later down the line as well. Add some tools to this, and maybe also a place to put the old notebooks that have all of the previous designs in there as soon as they start filling up. Of course, I'm gonna have to see if I actually start filling up notebooks or if this is just a phase, so to say. So special thanks to Vernal for sending over the setup. You can use the code YTFL for a 6% discount, and I'll leave some links in the description down below. Alright, that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some inspiration, and stay tuned for the next episode in the series. I'll be finishing the desktop really quite soon, so hopefully see you in the next one.